Hey guys, hope you all enjoyed your strongman training yesterday. Today is going to be a little bit different because I'm attempting to multitask and getting this recorded while blasting out a morning power walk. Up at 5 today, an hour and a half power walk done, good 650 calories burnt before I even get to breakfast. Can't really argue with that. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about carbohydrates and the choices involved when selecting your carbohydrates. Do apologise, this is the back end, so I'm a little bit out of breath. So, all carbohydrates fall onto a scale known as the glycemic index, and this is a measure of essentially how much sugar is involved within that carbohydrate. So, right at the top end of the scale, you've got things like table sugar, your gummy bears, things like that, something really, well, just basically sugar. On the bottom of the scale, your very low glycemic carbs, you've got things like your sweet potato, brown rice, all those different kind of things like that. Now, the advantage of these slow release or low glycemic carbs is you have a blood sugar scale. So every time you eat a carbohydrate, body releases insulin, pushes those carbs to be utilised by the body. Now, if you take in low glycemic carbs, slow release, steady energy, so it'll be a nice maintainable energy through the day. If you were to take in your Haribo or any of your cakes, treats, high glycemic stuff, then blood sugar will shoot up through the roof. Your body will really freak out because it's quite dangerous when you've got that high level of blood sugar. So it releases an abundance of insulin. So blood sugar shoots up, you feel fantastic, you feel, full of energy, probably slightly hyper. And then you get all this insulin firing in to let it come crashing back down again. Now, people experience these throughout the day. When it's high, you get it, you're jittery, and then maybe you might have, bowl of cereal, something like that for breakfast. I know you guys won't because you've got a little bit more sense, but hypothetically. And blood sugar shoots up, you feel fine, get on your way to work, and you sat at your desk at work, and then blood sugar comes crashing down through the floor. So it might be a case of you get up, have your breakfast, and in a couple of hours you're like, man, I've only just eaten, I've only just got out of bed, and I'm already tired, lethargic, I've got no energy, and I'm already hungry again. And all this will be is, you've got adequate number of calories, it's just your blood sugar's through the floor. When your blood sugar's through the floor, your brain's sending signals saying, we need to get some carbohydrates in here, we need to get some sugars in, try and normalise it, because your body's always trying to hold that homeostatic point. It wants to be sat right in the middle, it don't want to be at either end of the extreme. Oh, this is a one take, by the way, so I apologise if I moan and groan on a little bit. So, you take in, I spoke to you before about a protein breakfast. You'll get a very low insulin response from that. Nice steady blood sugar. Full of energy, full of your healthy proteins, healthy fats, everything's taken care of. Now, I'm not saying that the carbohydrates are the enemy and should be avoided. I know initially you guys on the detox needed to avoid them, but that's because we're almost retraining the body on how to deal with them. By this point, a lot of you will be reintroduced to them, so I just want to make sure that you're taking on the right carbohydrates. So when it comes to your carb choices, stick with things like your sweet potatoes, brown rice. I'm not a massive fan of pasta. Could go into the whole refined carbs thing, because if you think about it, anything that's man-made, we didn't have, 10,000 years ago. Things like that. The body takes an awful long time to catch up. So you think we're creating these foods like creating these products like your breads, your pastas, all these different things, really man-made stuff. Your body doesn't really know how to deal with it, doesn't know what to do with it, because We've made it. It's built, it's not grown. Something's grown, contains everything it needs, all the digestive enzymes, nutrients, to be utilised by the body and put to use. Now you're taking in things like your bread and your pastas. Not only does that have a high glycemic standing, as I was talking about before, getting on now, but it also contains a lot of things that your body doesn't really know what to do with. A bit of a double-edged sword. So you're getting up, you're having your cereal, you're getting this sugar crash, and your body's not really using the stuff that you're taking in anyway. So think about it, it's easy enough. Anything that's grown, anything that's natural, you know, fruits, yes, they do contain natural sugars, but that's just it. It's a natural sugar. It will give you a glycemic response, it will give you a blood sugar spike, but, you know, 10 times better than having a slice of cake, because it's natural, massively dense with nutrients, your vitamins, your minerals, everything else like that. So you eat your fruits and they will be put to use. I mean, be careful, look at your plan, see when you're allowed a carbohydrate choice, but especially post-workout, you'd want to be taking on something quite low glycemic, because when you're training, when you're exercising, you're using up your glycogen stores, which is the carbohydrates in the muscle, as a fuel source. And like I said, your body's going to want to go back to their homeostatic position. So you finish training, your blood sugar's going to be quite low. You know, that's why you get more and more tired, fatigued, getting hungry and things like that. Could just be one of the factors. So you think about a carbohydrate choice, don't just run back and have a bacon sarnie or something like that, because blood sugar's already low, you're very sensitive to it. Putting in all those sugary carbs, bang, it shoots straight back up again. And the last thing you want when you've just finished training is to have a massive surge of blood sugar and then a massive crash, because you'll already be aching, you'll already be a bit tired, and then you feel good for maybe 45 minutes, an hour, it comes crashing back down again. And you know, it'd be 10 times more beneficial to take on some low glycemic carbs, you know, white potato, sweet potato, something like that. Get it in, normalise the blood sugar again. Nice steady energy. I mean, it's very, very anabolic, which means it helps growth and repair and everything else, and recovery. And you're laughing, you're recovering well, you're full of energy, you're not hungry. Now, people battle with this blood sugar on a daily basis. I mean, I've sat in front of clients who just shooting it up through the roof and down through the floor continuously. Now, I'm not trying to scaremonger or anything, but this is effectively how you develop diabetes. Now, I'm not going to say that, you know, you eat a slice of bread and you're automatically type 2 diabetic, but years and years of abuse of things that people think are healthy, and you're going to end up, you know, with diabetes. But I'm going to nip that in the bud there, because I know a lot of you guys that have took one-on-one. No, I could probably talk for a full hour on diabetes alone. I'm not going to do that. I feel the need to apologise again, because this is a horrendously busy day today, so this is a one take. But take home messages. Get your low glycemic carbs in there. Make sure they're healthy. Make sure, you know, they're natural and your body's actually going to use them. And final note as well, don't be afraid of carbohydrates. You know, yes, it's true that you could survive 100% without them, and that's only true of carbohydrates, by the way, but, you know, it's great for energy. Some people do fantastic on them, you know, depending on your body type, things like that. Test it out, see how it works. I personally don't feel too great. I prefer a higher fat, higher protein diet, but it just depends on the individual. So get your healthy carbs in, make them low glycemic, make them natural, And just do a field check. So, you know, if you're over egg it, you have too many carbs and you're feeling a bit lethargic or something like that, taper it back a bit. But, you know, you're either on one side of the argument where it's all carbohydrates, Slimming World style, all carbohydrates, no fats, because people think fat make you fat, which we know is bogus. Or they're on the opposite end of the spectrum where they're saying carbs are the demon, you know, they're responsible for this, responsible for that. If you eat them, you're going to automatically become diabetic. So find that midpoint, find what works for you, test it out. And again, just like with your protein, with your fat, with anything that you're eating, just look if it grows, if it's natural, if your body knows how to use it, and chances are you're going to be onto a winner. Right, I realise I've been rambling on for 11 minutes now, and I don't know if this is going to even make an awful lot of sense, but I hope that was informative, and I will see you all next Saturday. Goodbye.